about protecting Black women unless we have a conversation about how unprotected and neglected Black girls are. Welcome back to another episode of Girl Boo Podcast. I am your host, Jay Cabria. Girl Boo is for the women who are reclaiming their truth, rewriting their story, and never biting their tongue, because we always have something to say as long as it's protected. Welcome back to another episode of Girl Boo Podcast. This is season 2, episode 2. This season is the season of surrender. And today's title, as you can tell, is a little heavier than we normally discuss. I always like to have a little kiki in there, but this is more of a serious topic that I felt compelled to tell. So this episode is in real time. I did have another pre-recorded episode, but I feel like this topic is so important, it's so relevant, especially with everything that is going on right now. So let's get into it. So in today's episode of Girl Boo, I just want to talk about a viral video that I have that's currently going right now. Actually, today is Wednesday, January 15th. So let's actually see today, as of today, what the numbers are. So we have, wait, is that right? Let's check the stats. So we have over 94,300 views, 832 shares, 30K likes, several saves, downloads, 1,200 comments. I'm going to put on the screen the video and I'm going to let that play. One of the things that I have noticed ever since I've become a mother is that people will really try to act like having a daughter, specifically a Black daughter, is some type of curse or like death sentence, and I'm sick of it. People will be like, oh, you better check that attitude, or oh, you giving her too much leeway because I'm asking my 2-year-old if she would rather watch Bluey or fucking Peppa Pig. Then this brings me to a conversation I was having with a mutual. This was like maybe a year ago. My daughter may have just turned 1 or she was about to turn 1. And I will never forget, we were talking about just motherhood. And I was telling her how from an early age, I really want my daughter to be confident. I want her to be able to make decisions to the best that she can, of course, at 2, 3, however years old. But that is very important to me. And I'll never forget, she was just like, giving me like this stank face, like, what do you mean you want her to have opinions? What do you mean you want her to make decisions? Like, she's 2, like, she doesn't know any of that, or at the time she was like 1, she doesn't know, and I was just simply telling her, like, they do know. They do. The example I just gave was just 10 minutes ago. I was turning on Peppa Pig, and my daughter at 2 years old literally was like, no. And instead of getting frustrated with her, I just simply said, do you want to watch something else? And she said, Bluey. So I turned it on Bluey. And do you know what she said? Thank you, Mama. It was that simple. I don't understand why it's just this stigma of not treating Black kids, specifically girls, as human beings. Like, they're human beings. We do not own these children. God blessed us with them, yes, but they are their own person. They are human. Let's normalize that. And stop talking about how, oh, the attitude, good. Okay? Because some people be like, oh, that attitude, you better check that. Bitch, she get it from me. Like, let's be for real. I'm not mad at all. Actually, I love it because now it's more confirmation that she ain't going for shit. I love it. And she a little meaner than me, I fear. And before we really get into the episode, I do just want to say And before we really get into the episode, I do just want to say rest in paradise to all of the young women, Black women we have lost due to just simple negligence, unnecessary, very avoidable deaths. I just want to say RIP to Zanaya Harris and also Ayanna Sawyer. Her case was very similar. If you're not familiar with that case, be sure to go look into it. And I did just want to apologize for the mispronunciation of her name. Like I said, I had just started watching the case the night before, so I was a little bit behind with the trial recordings that I was watching. So it was kind of information overload. We had Zanaya, Jakaya. It was just so many similar names. So I do apologize about that. Please charge it to my heart and not my head. I was just a bit emotional. Like I said, this entire case has just triggered me. So yes, please remember that when you hear me mispronounce her name. All right, so this topic is important because it actually leads to a very, very relevant topic that's going on right now in the world, in our community, and just something that I really wanted to amplify. So today we're going to take a deep dive into the unspoken truths about being a Black girl in the world that often fails to protect us. From societal neglect to the unique struggles we face within our own communities and our own homes, I'm unpacking why Black girls deserve so much more. This is going to be a call of action, a moment of reflection, and a space to honor the resilience of Black women and Black girls everywhere. We're also going to honor a couple of Black girls who unfortunately are no longer with us. That's going to be the latter part of the episode. But tune in as I share my personal experiences, hard truth, and the steps we can take to demand better for ourselves and the next generation. So we cannot talk about protecting Black women unless we have a conversation about how unprotected and neglected Black girls are. So from my video, that this is what today is Wednesday, I made that video on Monday. On Monday, there were so many women sharing their experiences. I also started watching the Zakaya Harris case, which again I'm going to get into in a minute. But this case has been so triggering to me, and just how uncared for Black girls and Black women have been. It's so triggering to me. So time out. Sorry for the audio issues in my last video, you guys. I am no longer in this last setup that I had, so I am still trying to figure it out. The beginning of this video, or audio, you may have heard a few hiccups. Sorry about that. Everything should be good now. All right, but we should be good now. Okay, so in my video, this has just led to so many other topics because people had really, really good points. Other Black women shared on the video, other Black women DM'd me their experiences as little girls and their experience as a Black mother. What prompted the video was I often think about how people think it is absolutely ridiculous that I asked my 2-year-old little girl that I let her make her own decisions. That's what prompted me to make the video, because I can have a conversation with someone and just the overall confusion and the fact that I like my daughter to make her own decisions. I instill confidence in her. I like for her to have an opinion. And I like the fact that she has an attitude. I do. And I'm going to explain why. Oftentimes, and don't mind my nails. Like I said, baby, this was the emergency episode, okay? I had to cut cameras, cut breaks. I wasn't even supposed to film today, but again, this is just so heavy on my heart. I've been watching the Zakaya Harris trial, and I just really feel like I have to speak on this. So many people will have an attitude, or they'll say like mundane things like, oh, you better watch that, you better watch out, and things like that, and you better watch her attitude, whether it be people who know me personally and or via social media. Like, people will say things like that, and that is so problematic in our community, and it's especially problematic and sick when Black women have that mindset. And I'm going to tell you why. Little Black girls who don't have opinions at an early age, are easily influenced. They're susceptible to cults, whether they're known cults, religious cults. They're susceptible to abuse, abusive men, abusive situations, abusive friendships, just overall abuse. And not only that, what is the point of raising a child if we're not raising that child up? What's the point? So for me, I don't even let those type of things be said. Like, you can't come around me talking about how I parent. And I also may not want to come around you depending on how you parent. But I say that to say we need to really stop as a community with the whole, oh, you better watch that attitude. You better, get her in line early or whatever else other madness y'all be saying. We need to stop. We need to stop. And I'm just saying, we as a community, it really needs to stop. I love that my daughter is sassy. I love that she has an attitude. I love that she understands at an early age, no is a full sentence. hmm And I love that she's confident. And that's something that at 30, I can tell and I can see when a woman was not able to express herself at an early age. You can literally tell. They have low self-esteem. They date losers. Again, they're susceptible to abuse, abusive relationships, having babies they're not ready for, not striving for the best in life, and really just being comfortable with stagnancy, if we're just being honest. A lot of women who were not encouraged at an early age just go for anything. And I say that to say, video that I made, it highlights the significance of not only protecting Black girls, but it also addresses like the need to move beyond the projection of unhealed Black women. Anytime I have heard when, oh, you having a little girl, oh, girl, oh my God, I'm gonna pray for you and da da da. And look, let me say this. Is having a little Black girl with an attitude, an opinion, the sassiness, all of that, can it be challenging? Yes, absolutely. But I would much rather have that than my daughter not think she had options. At 2 years old, my child knows she has options. All of them. There is no glass ceiling. The sky's not the limit. You actually can go past it. Those are the things we should be speaking into our little Black girls, because if we're being quite honest, the Black woman is the future, baby. As much as a certain community of people and gender like to discredit Black women, but we make the world go round. Let's keep it a buck. We make the world go round. Anytime you've seen a Black woman in the room, she adds nothing but value. And not only does she add value, but people look to her for damn near everything. I'm the Black woman that was in the room. And also, I've worked in a corporate setting. So, the things that I talk about, they are important because they all lead to a bigger issue. Unprotected Black girls turn into predators, and it's a pipeline. Very, very easy to turn a blind eye than to do the right thing. And while I understand that, we as a community have to do better. Not only does dimming blue Black girls' light, trying to kill their confidence, reminding them, oh, stay in the child's place. Those type of things, they're more harmful than they are helpful. Again, any Black woman I know whose light was dimmed when she was a child and did not get the proper healing is now a Black woman who suffers from stagnancy. Before I get into it, I do just want to say trigger warning. This content is about to be about a young girl being unalived, grooming, Black women turning a blind eye, things that generally happen in our community. And again, I'm a Black woman. I know a lot of people love to say when I bring this up, it can happen anywhere, all communities. I'm only talking about the Black one. That's the only one I've ever been in, the only one I'll ever be in. Talking about the Black community. If you do not know who Naziah Harris is, please go look up her case. She is a 12-year-old. Well, at the time, she was like 11 or 12-year-old from Detroit, Michigan. She ended up going missing last year around this time. It was actually on my birthday, which is a little creepy. But she went missing. Fast forward to today, we are in the trial finding out that her guardian and aunt, the guardian was the grandmother who she was supposed to be staying with. The aunt, who was not supposed to be staying with the guardian, who's also a foster mother, ends up in an inappropriate relationship. The aunt's baby daddy is a serial PDFer. Okay, code word. He's a serial PDFer, got out of prison in 2015 for SA. He's also been arrested. I'm not sure if that was the same case, but he's also SA'd his own child. The aunt and the grandmother had this offender living in their household where, again, the grandmother is a foster mother. He had an inappropriate relationship with Naziah, was grooming her, and it's even been rumored to say that she was also pregnant at the same time that the aunt was pregnant. If you're not familiar with this case, get familiar with this case. These type of cases happen way too much in our community, and just period. But there is so much content on TikTok. If you want some short form content and don't want to sit through a whole video, be sure to check out TikTok. But if you do want to know the ins and outs, I would suggest you go to 7 Mile Radio. He's a podcaster in Detroit that has literally been covering this case since it happened last year, of some sort. And it brings me to my next point, because the Naziah Harris case is so triggering as a Black woman who was an unprotected little girl. It is beyond triggering. I don't even have anything else to say, but it is beyond triggering. And the thing about it is, you have all of these Black women who knew that this monster, Jarvis Butts, was a serial PDFer. He assaulted his own child, who was 4 years old, gave her an STD, and these women were still procreating with him. To find out that this monster had 13 kids, and I'm sure there are more, because you don't have that many kids and can keep count of all of them when they're all by different women. But the fact check, the day after I filmed this video, baby, we found out he got about 20 and or more kids. And yes, you heard that right, 20, 20. Her legal guardian was so thirsty to have a piece of a man in that house that she knew the red flags were there. She saw the red flags. And now I find out today that same aunt is putting money on this MF of books. She's putting money on his books as we speak. I can guarantee you that some of those women who are involved, the aunt, the grandma, first of all, the proof is in the pudding. Okay, let's talk about that. And I said I'm trying not to go all over the place, but I just might. So I apologize again. I'm just going as it comes to my head. The grandmother gave birth to Naziah's mother, I believe, when she was 11, 12 years old. It wasn't about no other little 11 or 12-year-old little boy. It was about a grown-ass man. So obviously this family had a history of being groomed and abuse at the hands of an older man or older individuals. And I'm not giving the grandmother any leeway because, and this may hurt some people, hurt people do not hurt people. I do not care what people say. I have been hurt. I was a victim of SA when I was a child. I've never hurt a child. I've never harmed a child. I never thought about harming a child. It's never even crossed my mind. So I will never be the one to use that weak ass, sorry ass excuse as hurt people, or oh, they didn't know no better, or they just did what they, girl, I'm finna get in some people's asses. If you're a woman who was abused and you sit down and lay down with an MFer that is abusing other children or women, whatever the case may be, you just as sorry as them and you deserve exactly what they get. You deserve the same exact punishment. We need to start holding these women accountable. And yes, I'm going to talk about women because people always want to say, well, you're victim shaming and you're victim blaming and what about the man? They ain't shit. Collectively, I don't know if the male population can be saved. I don't know. I'm always going to speak about black women because I'm a black woman and that's all I've been my entire life. Just a black girl, black female, black woman. That's it. I can't speak on what men should or shouldn't be doing. Should they be doing better? Of course, but they're fucking not. You know why? Because you're always going to have some loser ass bitch that's going to enable them, just like the losers who sat there and let Jarvis butts around Zanaya and their kids and whoever else. And yes, we can blame things like the justice system and all of that. I mean, come on, we already know America, they don't have our best interests at heart, baby. They never have. We could talk about the school to prison pipeline another day. So I'm talking about black women, and I'm talking to black women because we have to do better. They knew about his history as a serial PDFer and still let this MFer around their children. You have some desperate ass women out here who, instead of just closing their goddamn legs, stop having all these damn babies. They're going to just let any and everything walk up in that house. They're going to let any and everything walk up in that house. When you open that door to these men, you're giving them full access to your children. Full access. If you as a woman are not doing your due diligence in doing a background check, and I mean a literal background check, a legal one, a verbal one, and if this is a man, we've already discussed this in one of these episodes. I told y'all about how I don't play that vet and men shit. I don't play the background check. I don't play that. Now, can some things go undocumented? Of course, of course, of course. But if you do not do your due diligence to do research on the men you lay down with, I don't even have words. I don't even have words for what type of woman I feel like you are, especially when you're a mother. Because as women, that's our number one job. Parents, period. Protect the kids. Protect the kids. If children are not safe in their own fucking home, where are they safe at? Hmm? Where are they safe at? If you are not protecting your cubs with everything in you, I can't respect you as a woman. And to me, just listening to, like, for instance, with the Zanaya case, why the fuck were little girls going to help grown ass men at a mechanic shop? All these YNs run around here, and they were what in Detroit. I'm sure they got some YNs who could use some straightening, who can use, but no, they decided to go and get little girls. In what fucking world does that make sense? And these women let these girls go with these men. This MFer was riding around with this girl. Kudos to the one witness, the friend whose grandmother, I can't think of his name. I can't think of his name. They call him King, and I quote. But I can't think of his real name. Was it Cordell? I believe it was Cordell. Kudos to his grandmother for saying, "Who is this little girl?" We need more of that. Individualism is killing society. As an adult, you have the duty to protect children. It does not matter if you like children. It does not matter if you're a parent. It does not matter. That is a basic human, just human decency. Bring that back. Who is this little girl? What's she doing with y'all? Because why in the hell would an 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 13, what the fuck ever? Why would she be riding around with a bunch of 40-year-old men? And nobody thought that was weird besides the grandmother or, relative that questioned him. And they were covering it up, saying that she was, and I quote, his niece. There's a lot to say about this case, but you have so many other cases. The Aiyana Sawyer's case. Mom sent her boyfriend, uncle, whoever to pick up this little girl. People are just too loose with their kids for me. Y'all are too loose with y'all children. If you don't know your child's whereabouts, you don't know what your child got going on, you're not going through that phone, that's a problem. That's a problem. I remember some kids who parents didn't let them do shit when we was growing up. Didn't let them go outside. Didn't let them, well, let me not say go outside, but didn't let them spend the night at people's houses. Didn't let them go to every single event. I understand it. I completely understand it. And then you have some loser women who are making TikToks and other videos saying like, oh, she knew what she was doing when I was that age. I da da da. What a fucking loser. And I would have some sympathy and say I feel bad. And I mean, obviously, those women are victims themselves, but what a fucking loser. To sit here and say and to think that that girl asked for this, she wanted this, that baby wanted love. And she was going to take it in any form she got it, whether it be crumbs, a bread slice, or the whole damn loaf. She was going to take it, whatever form it came in. So to have grown ass women on social media pointing the finger saying how an 11, 12, 13-year old knew what she was doing, how would she know? Who's telling her? Who's talking to her? Who's having these conversations with her? Who? Nobody. They didn't even know where the hell she was half the goddamn time. That girl had that monster's name saved as Forever Bay, my Forever Bay, or something like that. That baby didn't know nothing. At 17, I didn't even understand a 20 something year old trying to talk to me was inappropriate. At that age, you think, "Ooh, girl, you trying to talk to me?" And then something clicks, and it's like, "Well, wait." And this was my experience. Well, wait. Why doesn't no one his age want him? I had an experience with an older man when I was 17, and long story short, we weren't really doing anything, that was sexual or anything like that. Um, but I was hanging out all the time over there, talking and, we talking all day, whatever the case may be. He knew I was in high school. He knew I was about to graduate high school, all of the things. And then I will never forget one day his baby mama popped up at my job. Not only did she pop up at my job, but her and her friend cussed me out, completely embarrassed me, and of course, all of the things. And that's when it clicked. And I was like, wow. First, I didn't even know he had kids. One. Two, I'm asking the girl, like, my only question was like, how in the hell did this lady know where I work? So after I got cussed out, I literally asked and she told me. He told me where you worked. He even told me your schedule. Something in me clicked, and not only was I upset at him, but I was upset at her. The older I got, I just remember thinking like, no way, as a grown ass woman, I would have went up to a 17-year-old's job and cussed her out about a loser man that I'm with and decided to have multiple kids with. No way am I doing that. And that again, it goes back to unhealed women who have not healed their inner child. That's all it goes back to. Because a healed woman and a woman with some damn sense would have said, girl, what in the fuck are you doing with him? He 20 something years old. He was like 24, 23, 24. I was 17 years old. Now in my 30s, or I'm 30, but even when I was like, like my late teens, 18, 19, early 20s, I didn't play that. I'm quick to tell young girls, no, ma'am, we're not doing that. He's a loser. He's a bum. Why can't he get nobody his age? Da, 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 da. Like, I'm quick to pour into the younger generation because we owe it to them. And it goes back to my viral video. When people be like, oh, it's not that deep. It is. It is. Because we need to teach our daughters what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And how a grown ass 40-something-year-old loser coming onto them ain't cute. It ain't flattering. It ain't nothing but predatory. That's it. It's not flattering. You're not that girl. It's no, none of that. The two correlate. As much as people like to act like they don't, they correlate. They correlate. We need to instill confidence in our little girls. And that is what my video was pretty much saying. How I hate how people love to try to downplay black little girls, um, kill their confidence, dim their light, anything like that. No, we need to be shining the light on them, pouring into them. Even when you don't got nothing to pour, even if you think you don't have anything to pour, you have something to pour. You have value that can save a life. Zakaya's, I believe her little sister, cousin, somebody, it's a 9-year old baby. I have not finished this testimony, but it's a 9-year old baby who gave a testimony. And she pretty much said how she was asked to make sexual advances with Jarvis as well. And she told him no. She told him no. Now, I don't know, I'm still midway through the testimonies. I just really had to get this out and get this because my heart has been so heavy for the last 3 days watching this trial. Um, that to me goes back to my video and what I was saying. Black girls need to know that they have options. They need to know that. They need to know that they can tell creepy ass, old ass predators no. They need to know that. And that to me made me wonder, the mindset of the 9-year-old. And again, I'm still halfway through, so I haven't even finished it. Maybe it would come out. I don't know if that's her sister, her cousin, but I don't know what her household situation was like and if she was in the same house as Zakaya. I'm not sure. But the 9-year-old had the courage to say no. Now, does no always work with a predator? Of course not. We know that. But it just goes back to the original conversation. Black girls need to know that they have an option. They need to know and be confident and know that, well, he's like a grown, yucky old man. Because at 40 compared to 9, 10, that's exactly what you are. A creepy old ass man. And they need to know, like, this is odd. And even if they don't have the thought to, let me make my own decision, or I'm not sure what to do, at least they will know that they have a safe space to go to the nearest woman in their life and to confide in them and tell them and talk to them. We need more of that. If a little black girl isn't sure, what her options are, or doesn't know, or even messes up, like let's say, and not messes up, I don't want to say that because again, this is all grooming, but let's say Zakaya early on, because the women in her life were pouring into her as they should have been, something in her at some point would have said, you know what? Let me tell such and such. Maybe I should ask such and such. This doesn't feel right. Maybe it would have saved her life if she knew she had options and if she knew what love was and what it wasn't. We like to shield our black girls, but we don't need to shield them. That's another argument I have all the time. Let these, and I'm not talking about at 11, 12, high school age, let these little girls date. Let these girls date. I was able to date at an early age, like maybe 15, 14, 15-ish. And then it's like little stuff with, a chaperone, or maybe you going to the mall, or, little mundane things like that. It's nothing crazy. But we need more of that so that little black girls don't grow up and be susceptible to abusive relationships or losers. When you let them date early, they know they have options. They know they have options. Again, it goes back to my video and people saying it's not that deep. It is. It's a pipeline with all of it. It all correlates. If you're a woman who was abused, you were groomed, whatever the case may be, if you use the excuse of, I was hurt, so I'm going to hurt people, or the hurt people bullshit excuse, shame on you. Shame on you. If you're a woman that turns a blind eye when you feel like something's wrong or you can sense something is wrong, because let's go back to what it was one of these episodes I was talking about, the woman's intuition. We know, even when we don't know, and you don't speak up, you're a part of the problem. If you're one of these older women who feel like, oh, whatever, I had these kids and whatever the fuck, they could just do whatever they want to do, shame on you. Shame on you. These kids, specifically little black girls, deserve so much more. Because again, we cannot talk about protecting black women if we don't protect our little black girls. And if you are not adding value to the next generation as a black woman and to your community, our community, shame on you. Shame on you. If you turning a blind eye while some bullshit going on, my account will get banned for what I really want to say about these women that gave this monster access to this precious baby and was pretty much handing her over to him. Because that's pretty much what they were doing. Waited to report her missing. And you see kids today like that. Just, these kids be outside past the street lights being off. They be any and everywhere doing everything. Anytime I go to the mall, I see these little girls running around thinking they cute, shirt up, in the back, they done tied it up and, trying to be all cute. It ain't. It ain't. And I often wonder, like, what their home life is like. Do they have any woman around them that is pouring into them positively and not projecting? Because let's be honest, as black women, we have a hard time with projection. Under that comment section in my video is so powerful. I really encourage you, if you're a woman, again, who unfortunately experienced any type of abuse, If you feel like your light was dimmed as a child, if you are healing from just your childhood trauma or anything like that as a Black woman, I highly encourage you to go watch that video. The link will be in the show notes and the bio description of my YouTube video. But I highly suggest you go watch that because it's healing that's happening in the comments. Women are sharing their stories, they're being vulnerable, and it's a common theme of Black women who were once little girls who had their light dimmed, who were unprotected, and who weren't poured into positively. We have to do better. This next generation needs us. They need us to pour into them. They can't do better if we don't do better. I don't have any resources as of right now, but if I do find any, they will be in the show notes and they will also be in the description box of my YouTube video. But I do want to add some resources, maybe some education reform or just something that if you are someone who's struggling with this and you need assistance or anything like that, be sure to check out the resource that I list. I have to do a little research. Again, this was not planned, but by the time this video goes up, I will be able to find someone and to vet them. But I also want to encourage therapy. A lot of people try to shit on therapy, but it's needed. Even if you weren't abused or essayed as a child, you more than likely have some type of trauma that you need to unpack. And that trauma being unpacked could very well save a life. So I am going to recommend therapy for black girls. That is, of course, a therapy resource for Black women, Black girls. You could pretty much find a therapist, I believe, in all of the United States. I'm not sure if therapy for Black girls is international now. I have not listened to the podcast in a while, so I'm not sure if they're international, if they're just um, nationally working with people or working with girls and women. But I highly suggest therapy because there's always something for us to unpack, whether we want to admit that or not. You have to be the change that you want to see. You don't get to just go in a corner and not do anything for the next generation just because things were done to you. But yeah, I know this was kind of all over the place again, but I just really felt compelled to hop on and do this episode while this case is, on fire right now. The trial is going on. It's important that we talk about these things. And if you are a Black girl, Black woman who is struggling, I pray to God that you get the healing that you deserve. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be something that, you just wake up and you just feel it. Baby, it took years for me to get to this point. And I'm still healing. None of us are ever 1,000 or 100% healed. Healing isn't linear. It's actually a big ass scribble cloud circle thing. It's not linear at all. It's hard. It's tough. If you're a woman breaking generational curses, if you're breaking the curse of sexual abuse in your family, you're now protecting Black girls because you were unprotected as a child. Whatever the case may be, keep going on your fight. It is going to be hard. It is going to be tough. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be spiritual. It is a lot. But you have to take it one day at a time. Heal not only because you deserve it, but the world deserves it. The world deserves us to show up as our healed self. Like I said, I know this episode was a little heavier normally than it normally would be, and I just had to get this out. So I hope this resonates with someone. Be sure to follow us on social media. We are on Threads, Instagram, and Facebook at Girl Boo Podcast. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. You can watch the visual if you would like to. Jay Cabria for the YouTube, and then Girl Boo Podcast for everything else. Thank you so much, and I will talk to y'all later.